how much time were you spending making art versus all the things to sell the art that you're making? What is your time split like? Is 50% art? Is it like 20% art? Is it like...
Yeah, it depends. It depends at what time in the year you ask me that question.
Okay.
I'd love to say it's like a 50-50 split, but realistically, it's probably like 20-30% of the time I'm making the actual art. And the rest of the time is creating the content, photographing it, putting together newsletters, emailing people about projects, or all the other stuff that comes with being an artist.
Yeah, putting together an email list is one of the things that most people neglect and forget, and is probably the most important thing for artists because it's direct to your customer.
Yeah, do you know what? I like many, I don't need to do that. I've got a great Instagram account. Like, how wrong was I? So I actually came to it late. I only started doing it, I think, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I should have a lot more kind of subscribers than I do. But I'm saying that I've still got a good amount, and it's building nicely now.
And how often do you do your newsletter?
It's very sporadic. I actually sent one today, but usually I send 1 or 2 a month or something like. Okay. It's basically just like news on what I'm doing. I also offer, like, everyone who's subscribed on my newsletter, they usually find out about stuff first, and they usually get like offers on things on my work as well.
Super.
At certain times. So there is like a point of being subscribed. So they usually get something
some preferential, some financial benefit as well as some availability benefit.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I appreciate these people have taken the time and interest to sign up. So I want to give them something back for
for sure.
It's the least. Yeah.
Do you use like third-party art sites? I saw you were Saatchi Art, 20 artists to watch or something like that. Did that come organically? And was that like a boost to was that like helpful, or was that like something like you worked to get? And following that question, do you use other sites as well, or just Saatchi?
So yeah, I don't actually use Saatchi Art anymore. I have like art listed on there, but most of those pieces have sold now. Okay. Some on that platform actually. I think Saatchi Art is a great platform actually. But yeah, I sell on like there. There's a few other like Singular as well.
Yeah.
And then and then a few other kind of like UK based companies as well. I mostly kind of stick with UK based companies because I know them, I've met them personally, and I think those kind of things are better when you have an actual relationship as opposed to like just over email. So yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't sign up to any more now that I have a few. I've started deleting a few of the accounts as well because I just didn't sell through them much, and I was like, oh, why am I even on here kind of thing. It's just extra admin for me. So I want to try and become more self-sufficient as time comes on, to be honest. It goes on.
Now, do you have like a team or a manager, like people below you or people above you, studio assistants? Like, have you started to scale up in any direction, or is it just still completely a one-man show?
Yeah, no, I've got 9 people. No, of course not. I would love to say I have a team. It's me. That's it. I am the team. I do occasionally like get help from people, but usually it's just like friends. If I've got like a big project coming up, I need help packing and stuff like that. But no, it's just me.
So you're the shipping department, you're the painting department, you're the social media department, you're the marketing department.
Yes, all of those things. But I like it. It's good. It's nice because you learn everything it is, what it takes to run a business. And I think people get a personal kind of service with that. And you know exactly what's happening in your business. There's no kind of like anything lost within that. But yeah, at times, of course, I would love to have someone who could do all the stuff, like the admin-y stuff that I don't want to do.
Oh, yeah, it comes.
Yeah.
Do you do commissions, by the way, or do you just do the work you do?
Yeah, no, I do commissions. At one point, I think last year, I was doing mostly only commissions.
Wow.
Which was good. It depends. So the biggest works that I've created, I think one was like 2.8 meters. There was 2.8 meter high canvases that I did as a commission, which I sent to the US. That was a great project. I really enjoyed working that bigger scale. And I usually only create works that size on commission because, it's expensive buying
Cost.
those canvases and all the materials that you've got to use. So commissions usually only allow for those kind of projects. But yeah, it's a mixture really.
And you charge a higher price point for those because you're going out of your natural production schedule?
Not too much really. Like I tend to I have set size prices for different sizes. And I feel like if someone, I wouldn't charge that much more really. If there is something quite specific, obviously there's the shipping to like take into consideration and stuff like that. And if there's like a lot of pre-chat over email and a lot of back and forth and they want tests and stuff like that, I will charge a bit extra on that because it's my time.
Sure.
Yeah, but no, not really. I don't add a premium on it.
And what are your best channels in terms of distribution? Do you sell more of your work direct? Do you sell more through galleries? Do you sell more through like online channels, more through social channels, which is direct to the website? How does yours break out? And do you decide to put like effort, time, and money behind one of those as they grow? Or you just throw it all on the wall and pray for the best?
It changes at different points. So obviously during lockdown, like all of my sales were through Instagram. I was dealing with everything myself. Now we're out of lockdown, and now that Instagram has changed the algorithm, which has been a bit of a really annoying thing. I'm sure you can feel that for yourself. Like everyone I know I get half the interaction that I did before because people just don't see my posts. Really annoying. But yeah, so that used to be the case, but nowadays I'm more reliant again, going back to where I started, on galleries and art consultancies that I work with, as well as art galleries taking me to art fairs and stuff like that to sell my work.
Now, how did you go about getting those relationships and or maintaining those? Like for the average artist, like myself included, how did you get into your first galleries, and how do you approach new galleries? And is it only London based, or do you have different galleries in different markets? Like, how do you approach that?
So initially, I think like most, I was just like writing to or sending a DM to various different galleries, and I was approaching them. But I wouldn't recommend that actually. I always think the better relationships are when people come to you because they like your work. End of the day, no one's going to sign you up to their gallery if they don't like your work. Some do if like they're like a famous artist or whatever, because they know through that like fame, they're not an artist, just someone famous who happens to do art. They know through that fame they're going to make sales. But all of the relationships I have now, all of them have contacted me to get me on board. And I think that's definitely the way forward. But having said that, I think when you're starting out, you do need to hustle. You do need to ask people, and you do need to do that and work your way up. Like a lot of the interviews early on when I was just starting out, I asked for those people. I said, hey, love what you're doing. Do you want to interview me? And I think you just need to not to worry about it and feel embarrassed about it. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm an artist. I want my name out there and I want people to know about me. So what have I got to do? So you speak to people, and most of the time you'll get 90% no's, but there's 10%, and that might help you get up in the game.
And I always find it's even one more than that. It's like, that person that you pitch or do whatever might not be the one, but they might remember you 3 months from now and then be like, oh, you should talk to this artist for this project, or you should. The network of people grows and expand. Like the more, like putting yourself out there never hurt anybody. Like maybe your ego a little bit, but like talking to more people about your work just means more people talk about you and your work.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely a right and a wrong way to go about it. I think like you can always, for me, I've always approached it with like friendliness and openness. Like if I genuinely will need to like a page or like a gallery, if I want to make an interaction or send them a message about trying to become like part of what they're doing. And I'll tell them like, I really like them, but if they don't like what I'm doing, that's absolutely fine. I'll still be following you either way because I enjoy your content. That's my approach to the thing.
So you really just reach out and say, hey, I love your stuff. And that interaction gets a bunch of eyeballs on your work, and the rest is magic because your work speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly. You can't force someone to like your work. If they like it, if they don't, fine, no problem. I'll move on to the next one. But it's okay. But it's just going about it in the right way. But nowadays, luckily, and it's really nice that people seem to be like, they're coming to me. I've stopped reaching out so much now, which happens organically. Like you've got to put the effort in initially, early days.
Yeah, I used to be and before I was an artist, I was in the hospitality business, and I used to own fancy nightclubs and a different lifetime. And I always used to tell people that, like, I knew when I had a hit because my phone would just ring. Like, I would hang up and it would ring. I would hang up, it would ring. The second I had to start calling people, I knew it was time to close. It was over.
Yeah.
Right. That was the signal, like the inbound, outbound. If you can get people like knocking on your door, like that's usually a telltale sign that you're doing something correctly.
Yeah, totally.
I see that you also have done, which I don't think some artists do, but you seem to do a lot of like interesting collabs. Can you give me like a little background and how you stumbled into that and how those have worked for you?
Yeah. Again, it's organically, but yeah, I love doing them. I've recently, like yesterday, another one, which I think you mentioned earlier, just launched, which is the Sculpt art kit, which I was advising on. And I'm also like the coach and the guide in the kit. But yeah,
I didn't know if that was like a full side hustle on your own, or if it was like somebody else put it together and you're like an add-on. It was super cool.
It's one of the, it's not, I think other artists might look at it and be like, oh, that's not very cool, which fine, whatever. But for me, I think art should be accessible, and it enables that for a good price point for someone who has no idea about painting to buy this kit and have a go, try it.
Give a quick example of what it is so people know what we're talking about.
So basically it's an abstract art kit for if you are a painter or not, or if you're just a beginner and you always fancy to go, but it's everything that you'd need to start. And it's like they've also created the first ever collapsible canvas, which was really cool because I was the first artist ever to use it. And yeah, it's an art kit, and I'm like through the guide, run you through all the different things, working up like little mock-ups before you go onto the big canvas and all these different kind of tips and methods. So yeah, it was a really nice project to be part of.